Let's talk CJ Perry. Hey, hey, hello. Welcome to the show. So, something just was like, what's going on with CJ? I haven't seen her on my timeline. She's usually like being pushed or whatever. So, I just went to her Instagram. I don't follow her. I went to her Instagram and I'm seeing some things that are concerning. A lot of body, a lot of nudes. Now, it's not unnormal for her because this is what she always been doing was, advertising her body and stuff. But this time it seems desperate. Her comment section is in a complete shambles. So I went over to her TikTok and she's talking about she just came back because she's trying to get her mental health in order. Now, CJ is a curious case, hence the title of this pod. I always thought she was a hard worker. When she was on Total Divas, she seemed like an annoying sister. But the one thing about CJ Perry, she was a hard worker. She was just starting out. She wasn't really getting in the ring like that. She was more of Rusev's manager or what do you call it, caddy. And she wanted to get in the ring. I know she was always pestering Natalya to work with her so she could get better in the ring. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And she did. She really worked hard in the ring. And at some point, it began to show. And I would say, not too much for McMahon, but he was giving her the space to go out there and actually show what she can do. Now, that whole thing with Nia Jax putting her through the table or whatever could have been retaliation because Rusev had left and went to AEW as Miro. But Rusev had to endure a storyline that I thought was absolutely atrocious. And it was that storyline with her and Bobby Lashley. It came out of nowhere. I thought it was pushing a terrible stereotypical trope for black men. And we've been talking about black men and representation across YouTube, not just me. And when it's one thing to, build a storyline or whatever the case may be, but it just became overtly sexual for no reason, and no one came out of that good. Two people end up leaving, and Bobby Lashley did not get no push out of that. What came out of that was a lot of Pornhub references. She was getting blacked, which is another porn show. They were doing a lot of deep kissing. They was in the bed. He was licking her down in the ring. It was awkward. It was weird. It was crazy. And it just was not necessary to put Rusev in a cuckold. And the fact that Lana, CJ, was down with whatever they threw at her, I will give her that space. She seemed like a team player. She seemed like whatever you're going to give me, I'm going to do it. She even went into business for herself. I remember her and Naomi had a match, or somebody had a match with her, and she either didn't get pinned or some botch took place. So she went on social media and pointed the botch out, which made her fans and other wrestling fans get real loud to where she ended up getting a rematch against, it might have been Charlotte. Whoever was the champion at the time, she had a match with Charlotte. Of course, she lost in 2 seconds, but still. Then there was the weird angle where she just was like dumb luck. So I believe she won Last Man Standing match in Survivor Series. I believe she was winning matches just by standing there. Nia was like yelling at her and abusing her like emotionally, and she was standing there and crying, and we were just like, oh my god. Lana was getting over slowly but surely. She was getting over. And I really think a lot of times the issue with a lot of these wrestling promotions is they don't pull the trigger when they need to. I wouldn't have had a problem with Lana, especially in her last days as a champion, for a week or two, because she was putting in work. She was putting in work, and she was getting a lot of heat. and then she was getting over. It's got to be difficult to have people speak on why her and her husband divorced. But I will say this. Watching Total Divas, it's something about Lana, and I always said I don't really see why she did marry Rusev, because he is from a traditional Bulgarian family. Like, if you saw his mother, she looks like him. Like, she's built like him. Like, he is a mama's boy, and his mama wanted him to marry a traditional Bulgarian woman, but he chose Lana, and for obvious reasons. She's a beautiful girl, beautiful woman. Let me not, diminish her womanhood. She's a beautiful woman, but Lana is not the type to be tied down. She is a wild one. Like, to get to the marriage, there was a couple scenes that were concerning in Total Divas, whether it was scripted or not. He told her what he wanted. She would not give into what he wanted, but he made it clear what type of woman he was looking for, and eventually he wanted kids. And I'm not shocked that they never had kids, because although Rusev want kids, and I wouldn't be shocked down the line, not soon, in the near future, Rusev is going to meet someone and have some children. Lana does not want kids because she is very aware of her body, and she uses her body for income. Now, especially because she's not wrestling. Then there was like this weird, everything is weird. That's why it's a curious case. She went to AEW, which was expected because her husband was over there. Then she had this like stupid, sexy and flexible, and she was supposed to be making Miro go crazy because she was helping somebody else. It was just like, didn't make no sense and wasn't cohesive. Then she had a terrible health scare where she got a splinter in her finger, and the splinter, or the infection from the splinter, traveled up her arm. So she was out of action for that, and she showed the finger. Her finger was fucked up. It's like crazy shit happens to Lana. But Lana always works hard. She always worked hard to be a wrestler. And I think McMahon gave her a lot of space because, again, McMahon books with his dick. So he didn't mind looking at her make out with Bobby Lashley. Hindsight is 2020, because remember, Vince had something in his office for Bobby Lashley, and then we had to endure them sucking and licking each other for a stupid storyline, which ended with Liv Morgan wanting to be with Lana. And Liv Morgan is another curious case, but that's a different podcast. Wanting to be with Lana, and the whole thing was just absolutely ridiculous. So I said all that. I don't know what's going on with her. I don't know what's happening. Her comment section is very disrespectful. Maybe that's what I'm sure that's not what she's looking for, but it's giving desperate. It's giving, just because someone's like being overtly sexual doesn't mean they're having mental illness problems, but it's just the series of unfortunate events that Lana has experienced. It's giving, I'm going to just do what I got to do with this body, and don't let the money make you make the money. So that's the curious case of Lana. I don't know if anybody really gives a shit what she's doing, or, some men would say, thank God that bitch ain't in the ring. But I think Lana, she did contribute some things to the WWE, and you can't take that from her. She was getting over, but the rug was pulled out from her at the end of the day in the WWE. And it's just unfortunate where it looks like she's headed after all of these unfortunate events. So y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments if you got this far, and let's have a conversation. All right, later.